that difficult for them to do that for you. Should be pretty easy. Yeah, pretty easy.
Hello, Professor.
Hello, how you doing?
Thank you, Professor.
All right.
I'm so sorry I don't have lights in my room.
That's okay. That's all right. You know, I can still see your face, so that's good. We're gonna make it work, okay? All right. Okay. Right here. Right. Another good person to talk to if you want to is Miss Heckler, Robin Heckler. She handles the HR here. Yeah. So she might have more up to date stuff, but I don't think that much has changed.
No, I don't.
All right. How's everybody doing tonight? All right. Weekend was all right though? Yes. It was good. Good. Yeah, but rainy, yeah. Guys got a whole day off last week, didn't have to deal with me. All right, got to stay home in your pajamas and enjoy the video with tea and all that good stuff. So I'm not mad at you. Oh, that's why it's not doing what I wanted to do. It's not. We got something. It went way too smoothly and quickly today. A minute. So now I hook up my contraption here. Right here. Okay, so no questions, no comments. Did we get the group thing situated yet? No?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, what do we come up with? I haven't seen anything in my inbox yet. All right, let's go. All right. Well, I'm gonna give you till tonight, and hopefully, we'll have all that situated. Okay. All right. Aside from that, anything else? Anything interesting? Anybody do anything fun over the holidays? Nobody? Everybody stay home for Christmas, New Year's? Nothing? No stories, huh? Oh, we some stories. Well,
I'm glad I didn't travel. That airport issue was.
terrible.
Yeah, I'm glad
so bad.
Bad, huh?
I've learned not to travel during the holidays.
It was really bad, yeah. But hey, they're giving away lots of gifts now.
Are they?
25,000 points, frequent flyer miles and vouchers and going crazy. So for a little bit, you might have got a little, 25,000 miles.
That's a lot.
You can go one way at least someplace,
Mhm.
somewhere, but all right. How we doing on Zoom?
We're good.
Professor, good.
All right. Creed, you there?
Good, sir.
All right, good. All right, so checking. So I kind of see. Okay. All right. So like I said, make sure you guys get your group thing settled. If it's not settled by Friday, I'm gonna go in and put the group together. No, yes, send me. Okay. So no particular order. So if I do it, it's gonna be random. So I'll get out. So, but as soon as I get what I get, I'll figure out what the rest of tomorrow if I need to put it together. All right. All right. What else? I think that's it. Everybody's doing pretty well so far. All the work has been submitted. Good job. All right, so let me say something about the citing and all that other stuff. You guys are doing pretty good, not better than normal on the citation. Come on in, Vince. Come on in. No worries. Close the door for me, please. So just real quick, right? The mistakes I'm seeing on the citations is they're pretty simple, but again, I'll keep referencing the APA manual, okay? I recommend you go get it, especially at the graduate level, okay? It's gonna help you with your writing, academic writing. It's not a nonfiction, type class. That's a MLA, a modern language art association, whatever. That's that kind of writing. We're doing APA, all right? So basically, if you have a citation, I say something tonight, okay? and you cite whatever I said, okay, blah, 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 whatever, okay? So the citation goes after the sentence you're trying to cite or support, right? The punctuation goes after the citation. All right, so make sure whatever punctuation it is, it goes after the citation for the most part. Unless the punctuation is part of the statement. So if it's a question, you're gonna put the question mark where it belongs, all right? And then you will come in for the punctuation or period at the end, okay? Same thing with quotes. Quotes are a little different. Quotes are a little different, whereas if you quote something, right? If it's more than 40 words, it needs to be blocked. And what I mean by blocked is you need to justify it. Okay, so you need to highlight it, justify, you'll see it in one of the options on the top of the drop-down menu. Pick justify, and it will block it or center it on the page. Not, well, it'll center it on the paragraph or on the margin, I should say, okay? And put it right in the middle. And so you'll cite it, all right? Like page, all right, 2023, whatever, and there should be a page number, page X, whatever, okay? Of where you got this citation from, okay? Or a lot of times it'll be like, Dr. K's stated, boom, boom, something like that. And then after Dr. K's, you'll have 2023, all right? I don't have any space, but it should go right here, right? Dr. K's 2023 stated, and then down here, at the end, what you have is the page number that this particular quotation came from, okay? When you do direct quotes, wherever you got the source of quote from, the page number has to be resident somewhere in the citation. So I know, okay? I know what's going on, so I can go look at it, right? Because now you're going verbatim, you're not paraphrasing anymore. So you have to make specific, you have to make sure we specifically identify where that came from, right? I recommend, as a writer, you don't use quotes too often, okay? You stay kind of away from them, you paraphrase as much as you can, and you use quotes when there's no other choice, or if the quote is so poignant and so, like, says what you wanted to say, you can't really figure out the words, and there's no better way to say it, then use the quote, right? And quotes are good, sprinkled out, but you don't want to make them your day-to-day or your everyday kind of the substance of whatever your paper is. Come on. Okay, so keep it that, all right? Your reference listing, you know, that again, go to, you know, the APA manual, check that out, right? But a good tool to use is to go to Word, and at the top, use the reference drop down, and then that will create a reference list for you. It will keep all your citations for you. Okay, so as you start putting citations to your paper, you put the information one time, and then the Word software will manage your citations for you. So if next time you want to use the same citation, you just double click it and it'll put it right where you want it. And when it's time to create a reference list, all you do is generate reference list and it will create a APA reference list for you. You don't have to go in and do all of it and, you know, tab over and hanging indent and all this other stuff, okay? The Word program, the software does it for you. So I suggest that if you want to, you know, kind of get used to it and learn what it's supposed to look like, you go to Word, use the reference function, and then put your APA, put your sightings in there, and then it'll create your reference list for you also, okay? All right, any questions about that? No? All right, easy peasy, all right. There's nothing, but so far, everybody's doing good. I haven't taken up any points this past couple of weeks for any citation or anything like that, because I want you guys to get kind of used to my grading. But starting, you know, this week and forward, I'm gonna start taking points off for, you know, improper citations, you know, reference listing, lack of either one, okay, in your initial post, all right? I'd like to see one in your follow-up responses, but again, I'm gonna be a little lenient on that till probably week 5 or so. But your initial post, I'd like to see references and citations in there, okay? And the citation doesn't go at the end of the paragraph, all right? If you say something, you can cite right after. You should cite right after. If it's something statistically significant or if it's something that's a fact, right? You can't just say the sky is blue and then leave it there. That's not how it works. The sky is blue. Where did you get that from? Okay, even though there's more sentences, you have more content to write, you just can't say the sky is blue and then cite at the end of the paragraph. But the cite at the end of the sentence that you're trying to write and you're trying to support. Okay, so that's why I always say, hey, good job on citing, but you need to be, you need to cite when it's applicable. Okay, whenever there's a citation needed, you might have 4 or 5 citations in one paragraph, right? Depending on what it is you're talking about, right? If the concepts are the same or relatively linked, then you can use one citation. If you're getting the idea, the concept, or whatever you're talking about from one author or one reference, then you can keep it that way, right? And just use one. But in most cases, people are gonna say some statistical figure, anytime you use stats, you gotta cite. Doesn't matter. 94% of something, 10% of this, 20% of that, where'd you get it from? Okay, you have to cite. All right. Now, here for us, it's not too much of a big deal, but it is gonna be a big deal later on down the line if you guys start taking some more writing, classes that require more writing. And at this level, the master's level, you should be able to write an academic paper properly. Okay. So kind of giving you the foundation here, or at least I'm trying to, because I know you don't get it in a lot of places, right? People just assume that you know how to write APA. That's not the case for everyone. Okay. So we'll keep working on it. You guys are doing good though. Keep, doing the right thing. Just like I said, if you don't have it, just look online. You should be able to find a digital version of it for free. 6th edition is fine. 7th edition is the most current edition, but 6th edition works okay. Okay, you can find it on Amazon, $6, $5. It'll be marked up, which is kind of what you want. It'll be used, but it's still a good resource. Okay. All right. Anything else? Anything else? Anybody got in their mind? No. Everybody's so serious tonight. What's going on? Huh? It's cold. This is not cold. No, it's not cold. I thought this was cold too. I went back home. Yeah, it's rainy day time. If you was at home, you were there, huh? Yeah, no kidding. All right, okay. So today we're gonna talk about job analysis and job satisfaction and job engagement. All right. So one of the major functions of HR is, hiring, firing, and retaining, folks. Okay. But before we even get to that, we have to figure out what jobs do we need, right? And the jobs that we do have already, are they relevant, right? Do we need to revise them? Do we need to get rid of them? Do we need to do something to them, okay? And the only way you know anything about anything is through an analysis, right? We're analyzing in class, you guys research at home, same thing in doing business, right? They analyze these positions because there are certain positions that throughout time have become obsolete. Right, and people are now in the company. Let's say we have some who's a typist. Okay, we don't use typewriters anymore. Okay, so that person is no longer relevant. Right now, in order for me to either one transform that job to something else that's relevant or get rid of it, I need to do an analysis to see what its impact is on the total organization. Okay, we might need a typist. There might be some itty bitty minuscule thing that we do that requires a typewriter. There's still some of those things around, okay? So we have to do job analysis. And throughout the job analysis, what we're really looking for is to break down the job into subcomponents, okay? The kind of the who, what, why, when, where, how sort of thing about the job, okay? Who does the person report to? What does the job entail? How many hours does the job entail? What is the job really linked to, right? As far as like, at its core, what is it contributing to as far as the goal or mission of the organization, of the department, and where does that particular goal lead into for the organizational goal, okay? So it's kind of like a building block sort of, right? Your job, my job leads to, one thing, contributing to something that you're doing, and then you contribute to something that the department's doing. The department contributes to something that the organization is trying to get to, all right? All this is the CEO's vision, the COO's, kind of managing perspective and that kind of thing, right? So we're trying to get to the root to figure out, okay, what are the components of the job? are we even paying somebody too much for this job, right? Can we get someone else at a lower rate to come in and do the job, okay? And you'll find that many times when you do job analysis, and after they're done job analysis, a lot of people get fired. Get rid of them because they realize, okay, we don't need the job, we're overpaying someone to do this. And we can get an intern, we could even get a high school student to come in here and take care of this, okay? And so that's what happens most times, right? They do job analysis, they just figure out no need to spend this much money, or the job is irrelevant, or the job is extremely relevant and we don't have enough people, or the people we do have aren't skilled enough, they're not trained up enough to keep up what's going on, so we're losing our competitive edge. We need to send them back to school, to re-educate them, to get them going again, right? To retrain them so that they're competitive with everyone else, so that we stay competitive with everyone else, right, at the end of the day. Anybody ever done a job analysis? No? Okay. So let's move on here. All right. So when you're doing the job analysis, a couple different ways you can kind of garner information, right? Because that's what you're really looking for. I'm trying to figure out you and what you do. Okay, so one way is to shadow the person. When I say shadow, meaning I sit next to you and I watch you do your work. And I just ask you questions, okay? A little nerve-wracking at the beginning, but after a while, you kind of forget the other person's there and you just kind of doing your thing, okay? And you want to be as honest and truthful as possible, because I'm really trying to get a sense of what you do, right? You come in the morning and you get coffee, and then you have to crank out a few reports, and after that you kind of get into the day-to-day activities that you're responsible for. That's what I want to see, right? I don't want to see, necessarily, you making stuff up to do that you don't do because you want to look good in front of somebody. And be honest, because that's what they're looking for. They're looking for the true definition or the true requirements of the job, right? So you can do that by, shadowing. The other way you can do it through via questionnaire or survey, right? Send it out to everyone. Ask specific questions as to, what do you do first thing in the morning? How much time do you spend on this? How many reports do you have? How many people do you report to? How many people report to you, right? Can you tell me what your job, what area your job impacts? What other departments do you work with, right? And that way it gives me an idea of like what it is you're doing, how everything else connects, right? When did you get hired? When you first got hired, did you think you received the market rate or the market, value as far as compensation goes? Okay. Would you like to be promoted? Do you feel like this job is promotable, right? All those questions go into analysis because I want to figure out one, is this person doing their job, of course, all right? Secondly, I want to understand when, from when I first hired you to where we're at now, right? What's changed? What's going on in the market, right? Because the only way I'm really going to understand the competition, the market, where do I need to go get this particular skill set, okay? So it gives me an idea about a lot of things when I ask the question. So survey always works, in person always works, okay? You can have the person kind of just doing an essay, sort of, not even an essay, but kind of like write out what they do on a day-to-day basis, all right? It's kind of just outline it themselves without any questionnaire per se, just to get an idea of what it is they're doing. But the best way really to get, the garner what's going on is to watch them, honestly, right? If you can, kind of watch them from a distance, so you don't make them nervous and you don't make them kind of, jittery, whatever the case may be. But people start to definitely act a little different when they're looking at, somebody who's their boss or somebody that could possibly get them fired or retrained, right? They start to act a little funny, okay? So different ways, right? Boom, right? Sources of data, we kind of brushed on that already, right? Employees, your supervisors, your peers, they talk to everybody, okay? Just to get an idea again of how you're performing. And me as a boss, if I have someone that works for me, how much interaction do I have with this person, right? Does this person report like impact something else I do during the day, right? If I get a report from anybody, does it feed into another report that I have to give to my boss? right? There are some reports, and you soon probably decide if you don't know this already, they're totally obsolete and stupid. Okay, every Monday, there's a 9 o'clock report due that gives you the status of what's going on in the shop, right? What's currently active, what's suspended, what's this, what's this. Typically, I get a report, I kind of look at it and I would put it to the side, right? Because I already knew what's going on. If you're doing your job as a leader and a manager, you already kind of know what's going on, right? You don't need a report per se, right? You might need some details, but for the most part, I don't need it. But those are the things that I want to know about, right? Are you doing things that are wasting your time? Instead of doing this report, I can have you doing something else, okay? Maximizing your time, right? Making you more efficient, productive, making you more valuable to me as the leader, okay? As the manager, whatever the case may be, right? And so you kind of look at those things when you're doing analysis. Also, you talk to different folks, try and get a better idea, different feel as to how many different places are being impacted by this particular person's job or, that function of responsibility, right? So you'll find many times it's not that important, right? If no one's dying, this is just my motto, okay? No one's dying, everything's okay. Okay, it can wait till tomorrow, right? Now, if you're using large sums of money, I get it. Nobody wants to lose a lot of money, but again, I go back to my bar, nobody's dying, we're okay, okay? Nobody's dead, all right? That's always the key for me, all right? All right, so we're done with job analysis, right? We get through a couple different things, right? And now you want to know, like, okay, aside from using it for, kind of determining what jobs I want to have and what jobs I don't have, right? The main key is these for job description and job specifications, right? And so when we go out and we're looking for a job and we're looking for something that, to keep occupy our time, right? And we click on a link that says, I don't know, it's a job opening for CEO or something, right? You click on it, it has all these things, right? Oh, it gives you a general kind of idea of what the job entails. There's all these specific things that we're looking for, right? KSAs, knowledge, skills, and abilities, all right? So get familiar with that term, right? So knowledge, skills, and abilities. So knowledge is, of course, your education, right? What training you have, okay? Where you go to school, you have some other stuff that I don't know about, right? Skills is more or less like, hey, Microsoft, I'm good at Excel, I'm good at C++, I'm good at my Python, I'm good at whatever, what other additional skills you have. I'm a good typer, I make great coffee or something like that, okay? And then your abilities, well, go to coffee for your abilities, right? I'm on time, right? I'm punctual, I'm attention to detail type person, okay? I'm straightforward, right? And so the job description will have all those things, but all those things come from the job analysis, okay? The job analysis will tell me what kind of person I'm looking for the job, which goes to the job description. And so when you look at the job description, you'll say, okay, you gotta have a master's for this job, you gotta have 4 to 6 years experience, you gotta have, some typing ability, right? You gotta be flexible as far as, the hours. Some jobs require you to travel, so it will say, job requires 5% travel, right? That's coming from the job analysis. Because when I did the analysis, that person needed to go to certain places. Oh, you gotta go to this convention, you gotta go to this seminar, you gotta go to here, you gotta go to this business meeting, you gotta meet this client over here. Requires some travel, right? And so I put that in the job description so people know that, hey, you will be traveling during this time period, right? So all those things go into the job description, and that job description goes out into the public, trying to get the best talent that we can, right? The thing about job description is that in many instances that it describes the job, but you shouldn't necessarily just look at it and say, I'm qualified or not qualified, all right? The job description is very great as far as internally, all right? What we're really looking for is someone that we can train, okay? There's no job except for, something like a doctor, dentist, MD, all right? Dentist, some very specific professional line of work. For the most part, you can train anybody on those things. And even those things, you can train them. It just takes a long time to train somebody in that aspect, right? And so most companies are looking for people that are trainable. That is the whole purpose of getting a degree, okay? The degree's not about necessarily learning anything, per se. We all been undergrad, okay? Anybody remember anything from undergrad? No, I don't remember a thing, okay? And I did it twice. All right, I don't remember a thing in undergrad, from undergrad. I don't remember too much from my master's class, my first math. I don't remember too much, okay? But what happens is the degree shows people that you're trainable, that you are committed, that you can dedicate yourself to something and finish it. That's what the degree shows. Doesn't show anything else. Because 9 times out of 10, you go to a company, they're gonna tell you, forget whatever you learned in school. I don't care what it is. Just don't worry about it. We're gonna teach you how to do it our way. Because that's what they want, okay? So I'm saying this so that when you see a job description, you see a job that you want, don't be afraid to apply for it. Even if you don't meet the requirements, most of the time, they don't care about that. The fact that you've been applying, that's a step in the right direction. Because just looking at the job description sometimes and just, it's kind of intimidating, like, okay, I don't have 12 years experience. I don't have this, that's for sure. I don't know who has this particular skill set, right? I do have the degree and I have some experience, but I like the job. Just apply for it, all right? Because job descriptions are not meant to necessarily be, you're not gonna stick to the letter of the word, all right? You're going to look for people that, are trainable, but what's the most important thing that companies are looking for aside from trainable? What's the most important characteristics or like not characteristics, but what is it that they're really trying to do when they interview you? Say that one? Personality, okay. Dependability, okay. Anybody else? No? Okay. All those things. They want to see if you're a fit. They want to see if you're a fit for the organization, right? Because not every personality fits in every organization. All right. I used to work for Wells Fargo in the investment side of the house. I hated it. It's very cutthroat. Didn't realize how cutthroat it was. It's very cutthroat. Like you step on your mother and your father type cutthroat. All right. So that wasn't my personality. I didn't like screwing people over for the sake of a dollar. Okay. But there are people that are out there and no problem with it, right? So my personality didn't necessarily match with Wells Fargo's organizational culture. All right. Granted, I worked for somebody else and we were totally different. But at the same time, they're really looking for a match, right? Is this person going to fit into the culture here, right? Are we going to have someone who's rocking the boat and kind of disturbing things or, messing up the balance of the system? Okay, that's what we're looking for. If we feel like you're going to mess up the balance, you're going to bring something that is not, kind of commensurate with how we're doing things, right? And that's in any field. It doesn't matter. Okay, even thieves and criminals. All right, there's certain people like, all right, you cool, you can do thief stuff with us, no problem. You look square, unless you know something technical. You guys seen all the movies. There's always one nerd there, right? Computer guy who's typing 1,000 words a minute. Never seen anybody really do that, but they just don't fit within that particular structure, right? So job descriptions, really are more of a guideline, right? In a certain sense, in trying to get the right person to come in that we can train who fits personality-wise with the organization, right? All right. So job description, all right. So here we're gonna look at some of the stuff that HR does when it comes down to job analysis, all right? HR is the lead when it comes to analysis, all right? We're going to coordinate all the activities that are going to go into analysis, right? We're going to figure out which jobs we want to look at, who's going to look at them, how long we're going to spend on them, right? Or we're going to do questionnaire, or we're going to do a kind of face-to-face. What's that? Shadow. Or shadow, right? We're going to kind of figure out what it is, and you have a timeline as to how long it's going to take us. Okay, HR has the lead on all those things, okay? So, when we look at the managers, right, the managers are there to kind of like give us some rudder, okay? So let's just say I'm sitting, I'm shadowing somebody from HR, right? And typically, we will task someone within that department to shadow with us. Okay, because as an HR person, I may not understand some technical engineering stuff. I don't know if you're doing something right or wrong, right? And so we may ask someone, say, hey, can you give us someone to kind of hang out with us to help us evaluate this person's performance, right? Evaluate the work, evaluate the value of their particular report, right? Because I don't understand all of it. Some of it I may understand, but most of it I probably won't understand depending on what field it is, okay? And so the managers will step in and kind of provide some guidance and that kind of help, right? They'll also give you an idea of, hey, when you're done, is this kind of what you had in mind, right? So after I'm done with my, analysis of the job, give it to the manager of that department and say, hey, look these over. Does this look right? Is this what, you see every day, day to day? And if it's not, what would you like to see? Okay? Make some notes next to it. Say, hey, yeah, this report here is great, but I don't need him to do that. I need him to do this instead. Or this person here, I don't need him here full time. I can do this part time. Or guess what? I can do this myself, or I do this myself. So take that off. And as you do the analysis, the managers have their input because you can't do it on your own, right? You're just managing from an HR perspective. You're just managing the whole process. You are not the evaluator of the process. You're not the evaluator of the job analysis. Strictly based on format and just grammatical errors and that kind of thing, punctuation and conciseness, yes. And how it's put together, great. But what the content is, that's not up to you. That's up to the manager. That's up to that department to really be able to fill in those gaps as to, okay, what it is that the job entails and what is it you think is necessary for the job and not necessary. And then I take all that as an HR person and then I kind of catalog it, okay? Catalog it, and then I sit down with the COO and I sit down with operations, okay? And operations will then look at it and say, okay, these are all the requirements, the job analysis from the department heads or the managers, right? And then they'll match those things up with what operations is doing, okay? Like, yeah, okay, I see this manager says this, but we don't do that. We outsource that now. So we don't need that either, all right? Because again, operations is at the center of everything. Everybody goes to the beat of operations, right? Operations goes left, we all go left. Operations goes right, we go right. Operations shuts down, we all shut down, okay? Because they are the heartbeat of what we're doing, right? So we're really there to support them. So operations get to touch at it, they evaluate it for accuracy and go to match it up with the mission and goals of the company and objectives. And after that, it goes to the CEO and cool, we're good to go. And again, then it becomes more of a wish list, sort of, okay? Because again, remember I said there's two differences when we talk about HR. There's HR, what we call personnel management, and there's manpower. Okay, so anybody remember the difference between manpower and personnel management? Anybody?
Like manpower can be like
Like what? Like labor? No, not necessarily. When you say labor, what do you mean by labor? No. I mean, it can.
Identifying who you need to hire to accomplish like that organization.
Okay, yeah.
like how many people you need for a specific task.
Yeah, okay, yeah, along those lines, right? So manpower really speaks to the money, okay? How much money do I have to spend to what?
Like assets?
Yeah, to buy the assets, right? To get the skill sets, right? I need 10 engineers. How many engineers can I really buy, right? How much manpower do I need and how much can I afford, right? So the job analysis will give you what we call sort of a notional organizational chart, okay? If I had all the money in the world, I could hire whoever I wanted, CEO, COO, CFO, marketing, communication, public affairs, and underneath them have all the people they wanted and all that stuff. That's ideally, that's what I would like. It cost me $1 million, it cost me $2 million in payroll every year if I had everybody that I wanted. Of course, it costs more than that, but let's just say it's a small company, right? It would cost me $2 million to have all the people I wanted, right? That's not gonna happen, right? Most companies, if anything, they're running on 70%, 80% of their desired capacity, okay? And the only reason it works is because most people multitask. They have multiple hats, they wear multiple hats and do multiple things. And it's something that inherent to the job that you're not gonna find in the job description, right? You're not gonna find it on paper, but you do it anyway, because if you don't do it, you can't finish what you started, right? You can't kind of do what you need to do, right? So the job analysis feeds in job description, which feeds into, the operations, which in turn feeds into the manpower piece, okay? Once I get manpower figured out, then I know how much money I have to spend on positions and, the people I need. And then I can figure out how many of these folks can I actually get? How many folks can I give you off your wish list, sort of, okay? And then that's kind of how your companies get formed, and with the understanding that, hey, supposed to be 10 of you guys, I have 5, so guess what? Might be a little extra work, okay? Might be overtime sometimes, right? We have this problem in the police force a lot of times, or even in the military, right? Where we have these gaps and people are doing multiple things, but because of manpower, we don't have the money to buy every aspect or every person that we like to have, okay? All right, any questions thus far? No? Okay, so different types of job analysis, right? So we do the job analysis, we'll look at it from different perspectives, right? We can look at it from a task perspective, right? Like, what are the tasks associated with each job? All right, break it down that way. We can do it based on competency, right? What level of education, what level of skills do you need to have to do this job? We can do it based on trait, okay? Does this person need to be charismatic? Does this person need to be, affable? Does this person need to be, talkative, okay? Who here has ever done sales? Who does sales? 1, 2, all right, 3, all right. So what kind of sales do you do?
So I would like, my uncle has a company, LED lights company,
Mhm.
and I used to help him in India, like to make.
Okay, to connect the liaison, okay. What are you?
Many things.
What do you many things?
In many stores there were
Mm,
fashion,
okay,
like Steve Madden, it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, mhm.
yeah. But back in my
okay,
country, and handling, it's a toy shop.
okay.
Like it's Toys R Us,
So-
but it's a British.
Okay,
brand.
okay. How much is it?
I was on field sales,
Field sales,
yeah, because I manage addition maintenance and services.
okay.
So I need to go to some companies to sell.
Talking to sell. Did you have a portfolio already when you got hired? Did you have a portfolio of businesses that you just had to go talk to? Or did you have to go develop the relationship on yourself, on your
I
own?
answer.
Okay, all right. So sales is one of those jobs where it's not for everyone. Okay, it's not everybody's cup of tea. Right? I tried it, didn't like it. I'm not very talkative. Well, I'm talkative, I'm not very personable. Right? You have to be personable as far as like be able to go up to people and not be nervous about it, not be like you need somebody that's outgoing, is an extrovert, right? I'm not extrovert, I'm introverted, I'm in the middle somewhere, right? I'll talk to you when I need to. If you start the conversation, I can hold my own, I can talk to you, but I'm not gonna come up to you and talk, right? Not a good sales, right? But you guys, I'm sure did well in sales, right? But again, that takes a certain skill, right? And so if I'm hiring for a salesperson, right, I'm looking for that particular trait, right? I want to see how much you talk. I want to see how well you speak. I want to see how well you write, right? Because again, sales really is operations for most companies, right? Sales runs the company, and all the salespeople pretty much are above the law, in most companies. And so it's important that I figure out if you fit that, all right? Cold calling, all right? Anybody ever cold call? Anybody? Cold calling sucks, okay? I hated cold calling, and the worst part of it, I hate that hung up on it. All right, side to side, like, it's not for me, all right? But a friend of mine, he had no problem. He liked people hanging up on him. Okay, so he was okay with that. He's still in sales and he's doing really well, right? He makes almost $500,000 a year. But that's his personality. Okay, kind of personality. So see, I'm going with this, right? And so you have to kind of look at, okay, what is the right trait, right? Are we going to do it based on competency? Are we going to do it based on task, right? As far as like what needs to be done in this person handling. So within each task and within each job analysis, I'm looking for the scope of responsibility, right? The scope of authority, right? How much pull, how much decision-making authority do you have? And that also goes into job analysis. If I promote you to a certain job, or if I'm not gonna promote you, or you do a certain thing, if I'm not around, or if I need to make a decision, is that decision within the scope of your understanding? All right? What is that decision going to do? How is it going to impact other things if I let you make a decision that I should be making? Right? It's not necessarily about that I don't trust you. It's just that at certain levels, right? If you're going to spend $3,000, okay, at your level, if you're going to spend $50,000, you might want to tell me, I need to spend $50,000 because that might be the threshold in which the company says, hey, anything above 25,000, you got to talk to your manager. Okay, or anything below 25,000, you can do, right? So not everybody's comfortable with that. Now a lot of people aren't comfortable with managing budgets and all this other stuff, right? And so managing people, which is even the more important thing, right? I'm sure everyone here has worked for a micromanager at some point or another in their life, okay? Someone who's constantly just on top of you, every little thing has to be their way, even though they say it doesn't matter, they still want it a certain way, okay? You have to learn all those things. But when we look at the job analysis, we kind of break it down, task, trait, or competency. All right, try to figure out how we're going to rate this job, how we're going to analyze it, which will lead me to figuring out who I really want for the job. All right. So I want someone that has a bunch of degrees and has the foundation that I can train, or I need someone who's very, people person, right? So to be president, what kind of person you think you need to be a president? People person, right? You have to be very personable, like you, right? There you go. All right, you have to be personable, right? Everybody can't be president, unfortunately. All right, and so you have to be a certain type of person. If you look across the board, all our presidents are very extrovert type of people, right? They like the spotlight. They like to talk. All of them. They like to talk for the most part. Okay, smart, but they still like to talk. All right, I think that's smart. They're not all smart. Okay. All right. But again, there's no requirement per se for them to, be a good diplomat per se. Okay, there's no requirement for that. Now we like that in them, but not necessarily. There's no requirement for them to be able to handle a big budget. We like that, but that's not what it is. All right, the president, as the leader, you kind of imagine everything. Okay, so you're trying to figure out, okay, what's going on in general, but you're not specific about too many things, right? And so we'll look at it from those perspectives. All right, so just a quick visual depiction of a job analysis process, okay? Plan the job analysis, prepare for, conduct, develop, and maintain, okay? So if you go through the whole thing, like I said, we catalog it, we put it away, okay? And then it only comes up maybe once a year, maybe once every 2 years, if we're looking to maybe replace someone, maybe do some force reduction, maybe do some plus ups in certain places, or if we're looking to get in a whole different industry altogether, right? We have to understand what we have in the inventory, okay, and what jobs maybe that we really have in inventory that we can transfer over to this particular thing, right? If it's a technical job, then maybe we have someone in-house that has the technical skills or the traits or the characteristics or the competency that we can just transfer them over, or we can add that job somehow into their job description give them a raise and some increased responsibilities, piece of authority, okay? So, well, that stuff kind of goes, in play. All right. All right, so what I want you to do, make sure. Okay. So what I want you to do, right, I'm gonna put up 3 jars, and what I want you to do is this thing called ONET. All right, and ONET has basically, I don't know what it stands for, occupational network, something, right? But ONET is a great HR tool because what it does, it gives you details about pretty much every job there is that exists in the Department of Labor, okay? Gives you the qualifications, gives you the pay, gives you, you know, certain trade characteristics, gives you everything about the particular skill set job that you're trying to hire for, trying to build up, okay? So I'm gonna give you 3 positions and just pick one. And what I want you to do, I want you to go to ONET and create a job description off of that. Okay, so basically I want you to have a very brief, summary of the overall job. I want you to have the required, you know, KSAs, non-skills and abilities, all right? And I kind of want you to have a little section that talks about the compensation and some of the benefits, okay? Just like you were looking at a regular job description for yourself, okay? What are the components that you would want in a job description, okay? What information would you want, okay? So let's do first thing, ONET. All right, you go to Google, type in ONET, it should pop up. And we're gonna do radiologist. We're gonna do computer programmer. And we're gonna do a welder. Okay? So pick either one of those jobs. Radiologist, computer programmer, a welder, create a job description for either one of those jobs. Welder, yeah, like a welder. Yeah. Okay? You got about 20 minutes. Okay? So go to ONET. You can team up with somebody. If you don't have a computer, you guys can team up. That's fine. Okay? Doesn't need to be written down as far as, you know, I'd like for you to write it down so you can kind of get an idea of what it looks like, but it doesn't need to be written down. As long as you can describe it to me, it should be all right. All right. So 20 minutes. Radiologist, computer programmer, or welder. It's probably gonna be easier if you do it on a laptop, because,
Well, where do you create that? Where do you create that?
where do you create what? ONET?
Like, I'm in on it now.
Okay. So if you go to the top. If you go to the top, right, so you can type, you can go back in the introduction, you can type occupation keywords, occupation keyword search, okay? So look through the site, okay? Like get comfortable with it. Because there's a lot of different boxes on ONET, okay? But you just need to start navigating the site, see, you know, where I put the information at, right? There's an occupational search button or dialogue or something. Just put one of those in, it'll pop up. Can you see it? Radiologist, computer programmer, or welder. Okay. Sorry if I spelled it right. Okay. You got 20 minutes or so. Don't make it elaborate, just kind of get to the point of each particular section that you want to build. Yes.
You mean, you want us to build,
Yeah.
job descriptions for any of the guys?
Yeah, anyone. Yeah, pick one of the 3. Yeah, so you wanna have, kind of a summary of the job. You wanna have the knowledge, the KSAs. You wanna have, compensation. And then you wanna have, benefits. Alright, and then miscellaneous. Okay, say. College,
And we can like write anywhere in the word, correct? Or
Yeah.
we can, or is there a way we can create in this,
what do you mean?
like the format we can?
Oh man, I don't know if you can create anything in it. I'm not sure, I don't think so.
We can just write it out.
Yeah, you can just write it out, yeah, just write it out, yeah.
Oh,
That's why I said, don't, make it too complicated, just keep it simple, 1 or 2 sentences for the summary. You know, kind of just lay out the skills, the knowledge, skills and abilities, you know, you can do bullet, like, hey, Excel, master's degree, just kind of like bullet, don't go too crazy. Compensation, just the pay and whatever else comes with that, 10 days off, whatever things may be. And then the benefits, medical insurance and that kind of. Yes. No, no, no. You tell me.
And then.
If you guys had it as an example, so I put welders in, alright, as my choice, and you see it comes up with all this stuff, right? So this is all information that's related to the welder job, alright? Tasks, work activities, training credentials, skills, education, so these are all things that you use to build a job description. Everybody on Zoom, did you guys see the, three choices? Let me make sure you guys. That's,
Well, how many, members you want for the case study? Five or three, because the first time you say five, then.
Yeah, three. There should be 5 teams of 3, is what I'm saying. So 3 at the most. 2 to 3. Maybe some, yeah, 2 to 3. Then there might be some teams where it's 4 you guys and another team 2. So in between 2 and 3 is fine. Between 4 and 3.
Or is it good?
4 is good, yeah.
Or is it, yeah, 4. Not funny. Oh, no, mobile. No. When did you do it? No. And time is. go ahead, yeah. Go ahead. ليه مش عارفة ما قلت لك
It's done, or, you can go right into a 10-minute break, we'll be back 6:55, and then we'll pick back up. Okay. Yes.
So, when you have some response or justification.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to do with the context to be, but it's across my.
I talked about it again, but we don't do that. No worries.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can I ask you the case study?
Yeah.
Yeah, you already showed the case study. Okay? Should I go answer each 4 question and 4 discussion question? Four question and
Yeah, so yeah.
additionally.
No, the discussion question is within the case study itself? No,
No,
no, just answer the question, yeah,
questions.
the question. Yeah.
what does the discussion question mean? We have to think about.
Yeah, just think about, yeah, it's just part of what was in it to kind of stimulate conversation. So you can-
Addition.
Yeah,
that's addition.
additional, yes, you can use it and kind of help you, kind of answer the
Yeah,
questions.
helping,
Yeah, but it's
yes.
not necessary to
Oh.
answer those questions, but you will answer those questions as you're doing the
Okay.
case study, because they're kind of hard, but the 4 questions that I do or that are on the portal, that's what that's what you're gonna focus on.
Okay, the introduction and for answer the four
Yeah, yeah.
question with the reference
But-
and summary with some conclusion.
Yeah, absolutely,
Oh, yeah, and 3 people is okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I will.
Okay, no worries.
So you want to discuss with me when I post my initial post, right?
Yeah,
You commented that
where did you post that?
Tuesday, last Tuesday.
That Tuesday? Okay, all right, yeah, sometimes the computer has a problem, the software has a problem, so when I grade it, I can see yours on Thursday, but it said Tuesday, you posted it, I didn't see it, so I was like, okay, I'm not sure what's going on with the system, so, I'll go in and,
When you talk, from the grade as a,
I'm gonna change that.
okay,
Yeah, I'm gonna change it, yeah. Cause I've had that happen before. There's some way the students know how to change the thing.
you could do that?
Yeah, there's a way to do it. Yeah. So,
So I was like checking and everybody has like a comment from you,
Yeah.
not me. So I was like, maybe you're busy or something.
no, it's, if you, sometimes if you turn it in late, I won't make a comment, I'll just grade it, so that you kind of understand, like, hey, make sure you turn it working on time, right? If you want to comment, you want to know what's wrong, you probably want to come talk to me. And that will give you opportunity to say, hey, if you're working on time, make sure it's good, whatever it's going to do, but yeah, I'm gonna go back and review yours. Like, there's certain ones I kind of have I graded, just to see, till I can do more research as to what's going on. And then, that's why I asked you, like, you're going to be posted, because I know the system sometimes, it does weird things. And when I went to go grade them on Thursday, actually I graded them on Wednesday, yours wasn't there, your post wasn't there. So I graded everything, and then all of a sudden, I see your post yesterday, and I'm like, okay, that wasn't there the other day, when I graded everything, so I tried to check with Marcelo to see, okay, what's going on with the system, what's going on, did I kind of change something, or, do something like, funny with it, and so you said no, take your word for it, I didn't see anything, so I'll go back and change it, so make sure it's on time.
It's probably time.
Yeah, you're right, you're good sometime, so you're good.
Thank you. Anyway. I couldn't know that you can, like, you're able to change the date.
We got some smart people, we got some smart students, okay, on the internet, they find a way to, anyway, the software, so. So when you change a couple of things, you're good. So, but we don't want that. Rolling.
Yeah. All right.
What is your name? I think that get your name.
My name is Pauline.
Say it again.
Pauline,
Pauline, spell that?
Pauline.
Okay, all right. I'm just trying to put the name and the face together, that's all.
Oh, yeah.
It's your first day in class, right?
What?
This is your first day in class? You weren't here, you haven't been here.
Yeah, I moved here last 3 months.
Okay,
I
so.
was here about 10 years ago,
Yeah, okay.
so very hard for me.
Yeah, I get it. Where you coming from?
I know.
Okay, 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 all right, yeah, so take a little bit, but I'm glad you're here. Welcome. You have any questions or anything? You got your classmates, can help you, and if you have a question, I'll help you too, okay? Okay. Anybody back? We got everybody? All right, so who wants to go first? Just give me the job you picked and lay out the components of your job description. Okay, no,
But we did it,
that's fine.
so, our summary is create, modify, and test the code and scripts that allow computer software to run. May develop and write computer programs to store, locate, and retrieve specific documents, data, and information.
Okay, so you got
We
the
write
computer program.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
You can say it still.
Skill, so there's what is C++,
Okay,
code writing,
okay,
knowledge of hardware and software,
okay,
and the ability to read and understand information related to coding.
okay.
Compensation, 50 hourly per hour.
50 hours per hour, okay.
The benefits, will give them health insurance, region subscription.
Okay.
Retirement plan benefits too.
Okay, okay. All right, good, good. All right, that wasn't too detailed, but enough detail to where, we have something to start with and kind of write a good job description. All right, but if you look at computer programmers, a lot more that goes into it, but that was a good start, yeah. Real short and brief. All right, who wants to go next?
So, apparently, we show the same.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, a few things to add apart from the summary. I think the summary are pretty the same.
All right,
But for the knowledge, we have to have on computer and electronics knowledge, mathematics, engineering and technology, English language, and then customer and personal service. The knowledge you should have. Then for the skills, we have the programming skills, should be an active listener, complex problem solving skills, critical thinking, and quality control and analysis. That is for the skills.
okay,
Then for the abilities, you have the ability to write comprehensively, have neural vision, oral comprehension, deductive reasoning, and inductive reasoning.
Okay.
Then for the compensation, we're looking at military service annually. Then for the benefits, paid parental leave, options to work remotely, life insurance, 401k, health club company membership, childcare, vacation time, disability, then paid stuff.
okay, all right. Got a question, why did you guys put mathematics as a knowledge skill? Yeah, why did you guys put math?
Yeah, so, well, first of all, we found that on science, so we found that on the side.
Yeah,
So we thought, well, like you mentioned, knowledge is what you, let's say, so what you learn while you're in the undergrad level or maybe like master level. So
okay, but math,
Well, I think math is essential for coding.
is it?
Yeah, I think so. Because they taught a lot of classes in the college for mathematics and statistics.
Okay.
I think so.
I got a different opinion, but it's kind of.
That's what I hear.
Oh.
No, I'm an accountant. So I like
You're right, okay, I forgot you're an accountant. Not, math is one of those things that, you wanted a programmer, you wanted to understand math, but math is not necessarily a big deal in programming. Like statistics is, depending on which language you're using, but math, a lot of programmers don't know anything about anything. Now, it depends what kind of programming you're doing, and what, if you're doing theoretical type programming and, programming in for certain fields, yeah, you kind of want to know some math and conversions, but those people that are experts in the field will help you with that. But for the most part, I have a master's in AI, machine learning, right? So I code not all the time, but enough. The only math I know is statistics. I mean, I've taken calculus, but I don't use it, is what I'm saying, all right? And so you have to be careful not to deter anyone that is a good programmer to apply for the job because it's in math, right? Because math is not necessary. If you know the language,
You're fine.
you're fine, all right? The math has nothing to do with it. The math will come into play depending on what kind of project you're working on. If you're working with a dentist, or if you're working with a doctor, or somebody, where math is, critical to an engineer, right? But those people are gonna sit next to you as you're writing the code. If you're coding for something like, if I do an algorithm for, trying to group something, or identify something, or classify something, right? There's a certain metric I use to rate the accuracy of that particular, algorithm, but it has nothing to do with statistics, really. It's not math. It's math, it's not the math you're thinking about, right? But it's good to include it, but I would probably put it more like, more, understanding of, mathematics, maybe a little more specific, and then that way it gets understanding of mathematical concepts, right, something like that. But it's good though. All right, I'm just asking, it's not wrong. It's good. And who's next? Okay, all right, lady,
I did a radiologist,
okay,
the job description, I used, to diagnose and treat disease and injuries using medical imaging techniques such as X-rays, MRIs, nuclear medicine, and ultrasound. I listed location, San Diego, remote, no, travel, yes, relocation, yes. Permanent work schedule, full-time shift and call hours, promotion potential, supervisor, yes, security clearance, yes, yes.
okay. All right, so the good thing about that one is because of the job she chose, she specifically outlined the whole shift thing, right? You gotta know how shift jobs work. It's important to let people know, like, hey, it is a shift position, because you might get the late night shift, and someone might not want that, right? They might want a day shift or afternoon shift because they have kids and that kind of thing, or if they have night shift and they have their husband or their wife stay home and someone's there for the kids, or maybe it's on like night shift, right? But, letting the people know, like, hey, this is a shift job, and there's a shift differential sometimes, I don't know, not every job, but some jobs have shift differentials, and what I mean by that is, depending if you work a night shift or graveyard shift, they'll pay you more because it's at night, and it's kind of an inconvenience, trying to doze off your body, circadian rhythm and all that other stuff, right? But that was pretty good, all right? Next,
Okay, so I put it in the qualification like undergraduate degree in information system,
what job,
for the computer.
okay,
And programming experience preferably in C+ language, 5 years experience in developing software applications. And in knowledge, I put knowledge and experience with cloud platform preferred in API management,
okay.
and knowledge of the practical application of engineering, science and technology.
Mhm.
And skills I have like data structure and algorithms, cloud computing, web development, leadership skills, and jobs are full-time, paid from 75,000 a year. Employee benefits are provided to employees that include extra health insurance, retirement, savings, paid vacation days, and more.
Okay, all right, that's good. The only thing I would say with you put leadership skills in there, all right?
The one.
Leadership skills, you're very vague. What leadership skills are you referring to? Like, what are you looking for? Are you saying that the job is supervisory or non-supervisory? All right, so if you say leadership skills, I automatically think that I'm gonna have people working for me. Right, because if you're working by yourself, I don't care about your leadership skills, to tell you the truth. But if you work in a supervisory position, then I'm worried about your leadership skills, probably more than anything else, right? And so when you say leadership skills, what kind of leadership skills are you looking for? Like good time management, right? Self-sufficient, take the initiative, personable, flexible, adaptable, that kind of thing, right? Be more specific with the leadership skills that you're looking for, so people kind of can say, okay, that's me, that's not me, because not everybody can do a leader, right? Not everybody can be a leader. And so they may have different skill sets that they bring to the table that you want to know about, because I may be a great leader, but I may be impatient. If I'm impatient and I don't know how to teach or mentor someone, it's gonna be very frustrating for me and the person if I'm trying to teach them something, or they're trying to learn a new skill, if I'm cross-training, all right? So be specific about the leadership skills that you're looking for, in the job description, but aside from that. You wanna go next?
Yeah. So I have chosen the radiologist, so.
Okay.
So the radiologist, summary is that they perform or interpret the outcomes of the diagnostic imaging procedures, and they do the MRI, that's the magnetic resonance imaging, and the PET scan, that's the positron emission tomography. And they should have the basics technology skills, so they should know how to use Microsoft Word, Excel, the email software, and there are some special medical software that are used for the radiologist. That's the eClinical Works, EHR software, and the other is the EMR.
Okay.
And they should have the basic knowledge of medicine and dentistry, biology and physics, and it's related to medical.
Okay.
And they should have the writing skills, the active listening skills, and the critical thinking. So they can identify the strength and weakness of solution, conclusion, and approach to the problem. And the ability includes the problem sensitivity, to tell something is wrong or is likely to go wrong. So they scan the body imaging, and they should know how to get what's going wrong in the body.
Okay.
And also they should have the oral comprehension to listen to and understand the information and ideas presented through spoken words and sentences. And the benefits are to the achievement. So occupation that satisfy the 120 are result oriented, allow employees to use their strongest ability and give them a feeling of accomplishment. And it's an independent job, so that satisfy the work value, allow employees to work on their own and make decisions.
Okay. Is it? Okay. All right, not bad. All right. A little long, but not bad. All right. The other thing at the beginning, when you talk about a radiologist, usually, correct me if I'm wrong, people that work with radiologists typically, as a radiologist, I think you're more managing than you are actually looking at the actual X-rays, MRIs. Oh, you're very, at the very least, you're not conducting the MRIs yourself.
No,
Right.
you have techs to do that, but then you use the reads.
Right, okay.
And report, and you also, I think, manage department.
Right, okay. Yeah, because that's a radiologist, it's pretty, I mean, that's pretty, it's hard, it's difficult, lots of education, but they typically are more of the supervisory manager type people, and they have to be able to detect the anomalies within the scan or the case, but they're not doing MRIs or stuff like that, you know, more, if you put down the job description for radiology, they're probably not gonna propose it. They don't do those things, unless it's emergency, of course, but all in all, pretty good, not bad, not bad, okay? All right, who's left? The ladies in the back. Did you wanna go? Okay. The other? Okay, all right, okay.
Yes, that's pretty there are treatment
Mhm.
and also operate safety treatment and use safe work habits and very component in work. And then this education is usually high school diploma required.
Mhm.
And related experience on service was related to knowledge where experience is really very needed.
Okay.
Job training employees in the profession need anywhere from 2 months to a year.
Mhm.
With experience, job training. And, you know, and knowledge, they need material, machine and tool or raw materials knowledge. And media rate is 22.6 hourly.
Okay.
And I couldn't find any benefits or something like that.
Okay. It'd be the same as any of the other companies, company benefit. but good job description, right? Well, we not put welder in there, right? Because welder is one of those jobs where it's more experience than anything than, training. I mean, well, you need the training, but people are looking for experience when they're looking for welders, right? Because welders more like an art slash kind of science sort of. There's a lot of science behind it, but if you find a good welder that understands the science and understands how to put things together, that's really what you're looking for. But that to be very clear in the job description, right? Because a different type of welding also, like underwater welding is totally different than, above ground welding. Right, right. Yeah, exactly, right? You gotta be comfortable in the water, the first thing. If you're trying to do underwater welding, you have to understand all the physics that go with it, all the, science and chemistry that go with it, and all that stuff, right? So, good detail, in your description, okay? All right, one more, last one. You ready? No?
No, I'm sure read,
Which one? Radiologist?
yeah.
The first one? Okay, go ahead.
Uh,
There's no wrong answers here, folks, so just,
let me check.
okay.
Maybe they need to provide counseling to radiologist patients to explain the process risk and the benefits or net or automated treatments
Okay.
and documents the performance indications and the outcomes of all documents performed.
Okay.
And they need some electronic mail software and then million software.
Mhm.
Or they typically they need the bachelor or bachelor degree or more than, I think
Okay,
that's all.
okay, all right, sure. All right, so not bad on the description, like, there's a few more things you could add in, of course, but, you get to understand that what you're looking for is someone who's at least experienced or versed in understanding how to read images from whatever, X-ray or MRI or CAT scan or whatever the case may be, right? All right, not bad, okay, everybody did pretty good, right? Just to give you an understanding of, what a job analysis is and what it contributes to, all right? You do the job analysis, the job description is what you get, right, at the end of the day. And then so it's always archived and ready to go. If you're looking for that position, you just go pull it out, make sure everything is still current and relevant, and then you post it as a job description. And again, people will read that, and then they'll figure out whether or not they want to apply, right? But you don't want to necessarily make it too intimidating, right? But you want to make sure you get what it is that you need for the company, right? You want to make sure it will hit certain criteria. There's some certain things that you just can't really deviate from, right? The education aspect, right? I need you to have this much education. I need to have this much experience as a welder. I need to be comfortable in certain spaces and able to do certain things. So you see where the job analysis comes in, and it's crucial to the job description. So anytime you want an idea about, a particular job that you're interested in, and you're like, hey, when I get done with my degree, I want this job, you can look it up on ONET. And ONET will give you the most relevant current information about how much, you get paid, what the job entails, where the most opportunities are at, okay? Because not all jobs are relevant in every area, right? If you go to the Midwest, Idaho, Iowa, not to pick on those places, but they're smaller, less populated. Those folks, a lot of times, are not worried about the latest AI, right? Maybe for their farms, they have the AI technology, which I know we do have a lot of machine learning and AI in farming, but those folks are not concerned with that, right? What would be important though is a radiologist, right? But where do I find a radiologist for that area? Okay, as an HR, is one of your major concerns is your talent pool and what's around. I may need a pediatrician, but the closest pediatrician is 2 hours away, 3 hours away, right? The closest radiologist is 4 hours away, or I need certain surgery, or I need certain procedures done. And I don't have that particular person with that skill set in the vicinity, right? Because I'm not in a big city. So I have to go 2-3 hours down the line, right? So for HR, that becomes an issue, because if I'm running a hospital, I like to have more than just one person who can do that thing, right? And so that, the ONET kind of helps me figure out like, okay, what if you paying the person, because I don't have any other examples really, right? If I live in a small area, a more rural area, maybe not as urban. We live in San Diego, everything's in San Diego, right? Globally, we have things that are like number one, UCSD, like top 10, tech school in the world, okay? Qualcomm, number 1 or 2 microchip producer in the world, right? So we have these things here, but if you go someplace else where it's smaller, you go out to, I don't know, Alpine, or you go in the 8th and you go east, you go, to certain little towns, they don't have all these people, right? So in HR, it's always a task to figure out what do I have around me from all the things that I need, right? Things that I need are based off what I do, my job analysis, and putting out the job description and getting the talent in there that I need to have to make sure I have a good company and meet the organizational goal, okay? All right, so, what time is it? What time?
7:20.
7:20, perfect, okay. All right, so next I want to touch on is job satisfaction and engagement. And the reason we did job analysis first before we did this is because the job analysis is extremely important in how HR functions and how the company functions, right? Because really at the core of it, if you don't have the skill sets necessary to do the job, then your company's gonna pretty much shut, right? But now after you get the people you need, you hire, you recruit, everybody is there, right? Now we talk about, okay, are you enjoying your job? Are you engaged in your job? Are you involved in your job? Okay? Do you even want to be there? Right? Everybody familiar with the Sunday blues or the Monday blues? Maybe it's the Sunday blues. The Monday blues? Sunday blues, right? Anybody know what the Sunday blues is? I know you know. What's the Sunday blues? Anybody?
Sunday, Monday.
No, definitely not Sunday Monday.
Then you realize it's backwards.
Well, you realize you have to go back to work the next day, right? It's probably more of an American sentiment than anything else, right? But the Sunday blues is that anxiety you get when you realize, oh, tomorrow's Monday and I gotta go back to work. Okay, some people get it on Saturdays. Okay, Friday's the best day. Okay, because it's just starting the weekend, just got done with work. Monday's a long ways off, so you don't worry about those things, right? But typically, people that have the Sunday blues a lot of times are not happy in their job. Okay, they're not looking forward to it. They're just not excited. They're not satisfied and they're not engaged, right? And those are two important components for companies because the satisfaction and engagement directly lead to productivity and efficiency, okay? If I'm not happy with what I'm doing, either because it's not engaging, it's not challenging, right? Or it's boring, or maybe it's too complicated, right? And I have no idea what I'm doing. I feel like I'm drowning every day. Or if I have a terrible boss, okay, or I have terrible colleagues, people I don't like to work with, okay, this is where you get to the matching up of organizational culture and who you are. Because if you don't match up with the organizational culture, you get into an environment in which you're not happy, okay, because the people around you are so different from the way you think, the way you behave, their moral values, just don't line up with yours, okay? And so it's important that we make sure that we gauge job satisfaction and job engagement. And so what happens is a lot of times people or companies will send out these surveys, okay? Companies like doing surveys, right? It's the quickest, easiest, cheapest way to kind of get information. And the survey will be strictly focused around how you feel about the job, okay? The hours, the pay, the people, the actual task of the jobs, right? Do you actually enjoy doing what you're doing? Are there some tasks or some things that you're doing that you feel are unnecessary for your job, okay? Do you need more resources, right? Overall, in general, we want to get a sense of how you feel about working here. Okay, because we want to understand that because the goal is to really try to build an environment that you are happy to come to work to. All right, because if you're happy to come to work, HR is taking care of your business as far as payroll and FMLA and all this other stuff, right? You can focus on what you're doing, okay? Now, not everybody's gonna run into their dream job, right? Some of us work because we gotta make money, and it doesn't mean I like what I'm doing, but it pays the bills and it's, it's lucrative, right? Let's go back to sales. I have a lot of friends that are in sales. They don't like it, but guess what? They do like it. $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 salary, that's what they like, right? They're okay with that, right? And so sometimes you'll get into a job, you're not necessarily satisfied, but you're engaged, okay? But the engagement leads directly to your motivation, right? Okay, and so it comes job satisfaction and job engagement. It's about your motivation. What motivates you to do your job? Okay, is it intrinsic or extrinsic, right? When I say, anybody know what I mean by intrinsic motivation? Yeah, right, right? How does it make me feel? Okay, does it make me happy? Do, I get some kind of satisfaction or some, feeling of like I'm doing something good for somebody else, or just, what reward do I get that this is for me? Okay, extrinsic is more tangible, right? Your pay, your benefit, rewards, like things, I'm going to give you 2 weeks off, or you get a parking spot, because you're employed of the week, or whatever the case may be, okay? It really boils down to those things, okay? So we look at performance, right? And we're measuring performance. It's about ability, effort, and support, right? Now, key word here for me anyway is the support piece, right? Your ability and effort, you control that, okay? You put as much ability you want into it, or you display your abilities, whatever it is, and your effort for sure, that's all you. Support is different, okay? Support is more on the company, right? Did I give you everything you need to do your job? Right? Because you can't ask someone to do something and you don't give them the tools, and then be mad at them when it doesn't come out the way that you expected, right? So you have to provide the resources, right? And so performance is rated that or measured that way so that we make sure that we, can kind of give you what they need, right? And this is where you got people that break out, right? How do you tell who your top performers are? Okay? There's a very scientific way of looking at performance and why this person's on top, this person's at the bottom, this person, in the middle, right? It's based on that formula, right? So it's important that as a company, I do my part to make sure you have the resources you need, right? Because I'm really trying to motivate you to do something, right? In many instances, something that you probably don't want to do, okay? But I have to figure out what makes you tick, right? That's really what managers and leaders really do, but managers should be doing that also, right? It's about what makes you tick, because once I find out what makes you tick, then I know how I can leverage that to make you work better, right? To get better results from you, right? If leaders don't take the time to get to know people, this is where they start losing out on efficiency and productivity. Everything in life, including work, is about relationships, right? If you notice the strong relationship you have with your coworker or with your boss, the better your work, okay? Next time, just think about it. Think about your boss and how you guys interact, and think about, how well you work, okay? Could I even be more productive if we had a better relationship, right? Because you may be very, very productive, but if you have a better relationship with that person, you may be more productive. It's like a team, okay? When teams don't get along, it's because there's a relationship, there's personality conflicts going on, all right? When teams do get along and do well, what you hear is, oh yeah, we hang out with each other after games, after practice, we go to each other's kids' stuff, right? Same thing in the workplace, okay? We want to try to build these relationships, right? Because once I build a relationship, what am I doing when I'm building my relationship with you? What's it what I'm trying to do? Connect, right? But there's something else I'm trying to do. There's one word. I'm trying to build a relationship with you, but what does that mean trying to do? No, yeah, that too. I'm trying to build something. What am I trying to build?
Confident, career,
No, what is it?
confident,
No. It's close. Trust. Okay, trying to build trust. Okay, when you trust somebody, you're kind of easy going with them. And they say go left, all right, I trust you, we're gonna go left, right? When you don't trust somebody, say go left, like, no, I don't know about that one. I'm gonna go here first, and then I'll come back this way, all right? I'll see how you do over there, okay? Trust is the key component, really, okay? But you don't have trust if you don't have communication. Because you need to get to know each person, and again, you're looking for the motivational factors, okay? Yeah, no, that's okay. All right, so everybody's familiar, or maybe not. Everybody's heard of Maslow? Maslow's hierarchy of needs, all right? Everybody understand the hierarchy of needs? Good. I'm not, okay, so don't hold me to this, okay? I'm not an artist. All right, so everybody's seen this though, all right? Okay, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, all right? At the bottom, I don't have it memorized, all right? What's, huh?
Home, food,
shelter, home.
Home, food, shelter, right? Okay,
food,
food. Okay. What's the first one?
sorry.
No, the shelter, food, there's one that comes before. Basic needs. Food and shelter are definitely there, but there's one thing, you guys said it sort of. It has to do with shelter, but more like, I'm not with security. Security, okay? Security. I have to feel safe, I have to feel okay. If I'm, you ever know someone who's scared, who's had anxiety, they don't eat. They're not hungry, they're scared, right? You're not worried about eating, you're worried about make sure you're safe, right? Security, shelter, and then after that, what's next? What's after shelter and food and that kind of thing?
Friends.
Friends, love, yeah, friends.
Family.
Who?
Family.
Family, yeah, family, okay. Okay, so cool, all right. Okay, now what's next? After that? Esteem. What's in the top? Self-actualization. Okay, I'm just gonna put essay, okay? Self-esteem and self-actualization, all right? So you have your Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And this is important because all this kind of leads to motivation, all right? Me understanding where you're at on the scale helps me to understand what is gonna motivate you, all right? There are many people without security, all right? You've heard of food insecurity? You've heard that term before? Okay, not knowing where your next meal is coming from? If I have some insecurity, there's no way I can focus on anything else aside from that, okay? But if I know you work for me, right, and there's lots of people that have jobs who still have food insecurity, who have to get welfare, who have to get food stamps and that kind of thing, who maybe live in their car, okay? And so me as a leader manager, if I know that there's some situation going on in which I can help you, right? I will help you, but I will also use that as a motivational tool to say, hey, look, I'm needing some help, but I need you to, pick it up a notch in this place, right? Because I'm alleviating that worry for you, okay? And so if I'm alleviating this worry for you under the worries, all right, then I'm expecting an increase in productivity, all right? You give me this, I expect you to be able to be more productive because you don't have to worry about all this other stuff, right? So same thing with food and shelter. When we start getting to friends, love, and family, that's a real hard one right there, because it's very subjective, okay? Some people are very close to their family and need family and friends. Other folks don't necessarily need that, but we all need some form of it, okay? Especially in the workplace, you need somebody you can talk to, somebody you can, leverage and kind of vent to, right? You don't wanna see that guy who's lonely all the time, or gal who's lonely all the time, they're always by themselves, they never talk to anybody, they're very difficult to get along with at work, right? It's hard to really pinpoint their motivation, till you actually get to know them, again, through communication and trust. Now let's start talking about self-esteem and self-actualization, right? And this is where we get into the real interesting stuff, right? Again, what can I do to motivate you, right, to increase your self-esteem? Because if you have high self-esteem, and I'm doing something to motivate you, that leads to, high efficacy, self-efficacy, okay? Anybody familiar with the word efficacy? No? Efficacy is basically stating how well you do something, or how confident you are in something you do, right? So if I have high efficacy in statistics, right? I know what I'm doing, I understand it, and I'm not afraid to teach it because I understand it real well, right? But if I ask somebody in the class, hey, come up here and teach me statistics, you'd be like, no, I'm not doing that because my efficacy, I don't know anything about statistics, so I'm gonna sit down. Maybe you do, you don't, but if I ask something about accounting, right? I would never try to teach accounting because I hate accounting, okay? You too, but you're good at it. See? Yeah, you're good at it, right? So again, going back to the motivation, right? Understanding what motivates people, right? And so when we have these motivational theories, right? The need theory, two-factor theory, we have a whole bunch of theories out there, right? And there's a guy named called Hertzberg. He's a social scientist, or he was a social scientist. And he came up with the two-factor theory, or the Hertzberg motivational theory. And so basically what it says is that there are two factors that kind of go into, how people, are motivated, okay? You have your two factors, right? You have your motivators, you have your hygiene factors, okay? So your motivators basically are the things that people are going to, look to that can help them, kind of be these things, to help them promote self-esteem, self-actualization, right? Achievement, recognition, work itself, responsibility, advancement. Those are very intrinsic in nature, right? Those are all internal kind of things, right? The hygiene factors are a little different. The hygiene factors are things that are more extrinsic, what the company can control, right? Your pay, right? That special parking spot, maybe you have a private office, okay? Those are the differences between the two factors. Now, which one of these is you? Are you motivated by intrinsic, or are you motivated by intrinsic? Okay? Yeah, it depends, right? Some people are a mix. Most people are a mix of both, right? Because a lot of things we care about in our workplace that are necessarily either or, right? Or they're both, per se. So there's a hybrid sort of mix, right? But there are people that are very much driven by extrinsic motivation. When you're first starting out in your career, in your job, you'll be motivated extrinsically, right? Extrinsic motivation is what you're going after right now, right? Because you want to find a job that you kind of like, but make enough money that makes sense for you to go to school, okay? But as you're in that job longer and longer and longer, right? You start valuing different things. I like time off, right? I like to be able to spend time with my family. I want you to come in and work remote, right? Or not work on the weekends. Or I want to work on particular projects because they make me feel good. Don't want to work on that one because I don't like that content. I don't like that particular environment, okay? And so it's important to understand, again, what motivates people, okay? And how each one of these factors, right, and what category they kind of lend itself to, okay? So just, you don't need to memorize it, but definitely have an understanding of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, Hertzberg motivational theory, okay? Let's go back to it. All right. So the next one I want to talk about is expectancy theory, right? And so again, people work in different ways, right? One of the ways they work in is, hey, I'm going to do this kind of work, but what do I, get, right? What should I expect from you, right? Because I'm only going to put in as much effort based on what I'm getting back. Okay, that's really what the expectancy theory is about. I'm only going to put enough effort to get what I think I should be getting. I'm not gonna put any more effort in than that, right? And so you'll find people that are just doing just enough, right? Doing just enough to get by. Like, perfect example is the military per se, okay? You know, I was in the Marine Corps for 20 some odd years, right? And so one thing about the military, everybody gets paid the same. Okay? It sucks. Okay? I'll tell you it sucks because I don't remember how many times I saw a lot of people not doing anything. Okay? And I'm busting my butt. They're not doing anything, but guess what? They're gonna get the same pay as me, right? For the same rank. Okay? And so you kind of see like, oh, I'm gonna get this regardless of what kind of work I put in, what kind of effort I put in. Doesn't matter. Okay, I'm gonna get paid either way. If you are extrinsically motivated, that doesn't matter. You know, it's like, okay, I'm gonna get my money regardless of the point, right? If you're intrinsically motivated, it's different, right? Because if you really care about what you're doing, that may bother you because you see someone put less effort than you into a cause or into a particular project that you feel really, strongly about, okay? That may bother you, right? But at the same time, that is your motivation. That's not their motivation, right? And again, we have to figure out, okay, what motivational theory, what approach do I have to have for each individual person? Okay? Because that's really what it is. I have to figure out on my team what theory works. Is it expectancy theory, okay? Where I know that, they'll be looking for a certain thing based on the, the work they put in, okay? All right. Equity theory, okay? Where people want to kind of, make sure that they are being treated fairly, right? And the equity theory really, for most men in the workplace, the equity theory is not even a thought. But I know women in the workplace probably think about this more than anything else, right? Because now we talked about the Fair Pay Act, right? Equal Pay Act of 1963 last week, right? Equity theory is kind of based in that, right? I'm doing a certain amount of work and I expect fair compensation because I'm doing the same work he's doing, I'm doing the same work she's doing, so I expect the same pay, okay? If I don't get that, if I'm not getting that, then you may not get the same level of effort from me, okay? You may not get the same level of effort from me. Now, when I find that that's usually not the case, people typically will put in the same effort because they're not there necessarily for the money, it's not their main motivation, right? But if you are looking at equity theory, looking for fair treatment, right? That's really the basis of it all. Like, I want to be treated fairly. I don't want to be shortchanged in the sense of, oh, that's a man, they get an office. I'm a woman, I don't get an office. Or I'm a minority, I don't get an office, but you get an office, you're not a minority. Or depending what space you're in, of course, right? Or, I'm Muslim. I practice Islam. I have to pray, 5 times a day. Okay, well, guess what? You're not gonna get this position, right? Because of that, or you're pregnant, or you're in a wheelchair. Okay, people want to be treated fairly, and this is kind of where all the other laws we talked about last week, right? Civil Rights Act of 1964, Equal Pay Act, ADA, the age, act. There's a bunch of different things out there that, are directly related to, people being treated fairly, okay? All right, so top motivators, all right? Now, it doesn't necessarily apply from everyone, but in general, right? People like to be praised, okay? People like to be acknowledged. People like to be noticed, all right? Especially nowadays, all right? This is why social media is such a powerful tool because everybody can get noticed on social media, okay? We have influencers now. Not really sure what they do, okay? I get it, but I really don't, think that Kim Kardashian lipstick, because she's wearing it, not gonna make me run out and get it, personally, okay? I don't need lipstick, but you gotta get the gist, right? And just because somebody's wearing it or somebody kind of doing it who's some kind of not a authority, but has some recognition, then I'm gonna go out and do it. I don't, that's not how, a lot of people roll, but people do like to be recognized, right? So acknowledgement is one of the key things when you're talking about motivating people, right? Next thing, respecting the workplace, right? Everybody wants to be respected, but that doesn't always happen, right? A lot of disrespect that goes on, especially from superior to subordinate, okay? And I don't use subordinate all the time, but just for you to kind of get the point, right? Because subordinate is not ever received in a positive way, okay? Because it's such a kind of like, oh, you're beneath me, and there's no question about that, right? So I try not to use subordinate too often. And you don't want to use subordinate too often either, because it comes across kind of, demeaning sort of, right? But it is what it is, okay? So people want to be respected in the workplace, right? Whether it's your colleague, your boss, whoever, you want to be respected for not only the work you bring to the table, but for who you are as a person, right? We all want to be accepted and respected, okay? Then we utilize personal capabilities, right? Now, this is important because we all bring different skill sets to the table, right? There may be something that you can do that no one else can do in the company, right? And because of that, that makes you more valuable than someone else, okay? Even though you may be in the same job description or same, department, right? But let's just say you work on a project and, I don't know, speak a different language, okay? No one else speaks that language. Becomes very beneficial. You become value added at that case, right? Because again, you have personal capabilities that no one else has, and that's gonna put you up above everybody, right? And so that's gonna motivate you, right, to do more work, to do better, right? Because you like that attention, you like the not attention, but you like the fact that you're being acknowledged for a certain thing, okay? And then liking the job, well, that goes without saying, right? If people like their job, then they tend to perform a lot better, okay? There's a difference between, or so they say, there's a difference between a job and a career, okay? The job is kind of like something you do and you just gotta make money, and that's where most people end up. And then you have your career, something that you really enjoy doing, you have a passion for, and you'll probably do for free. Okay, there's a big difference between the two. And most people don't get to necessarily do what they love. Okay, most people end up in a job, right? And they learn to love the job, right? Not the other way around. I'm sure what you guys are doing now is not necessarily what you want to be doing, but you learn to like it, you learn to love it because it's giving you the money that you want, right? It's giving you some other things that you want, okay? Like, I love teaching, but if it was up to me, I'd be in the NBA somewhere, okay? That'd be me, all right? Do I have a passion for teaching? Yes, but the passion is really about you guys, right? I like to interact with you guys and talk to you guys and hear what you got to say. So that's my motivation. That gets me pumped up, right? When the conversation gets going and guys give, really good answers, and like, all right, cool, all right. Everything's going okay, right? That motivates me to work harder to give you a better quality presentation, better quality education, make it more interactive, make it more fun, because I know HR is boring. So I, try to do something else in addition to it to, make it to motivate myself, to motivate you also, because I enjoy the job. All right. And the last thing I'm gonna leave it on is really when it comes down to motivation, this piece right here, the good managing leader, is extremely important, okay? Because a lot of people, you hear the saying, people don't need jobs, they need managers, they need people. And it's true, right? Most people don't leave the job because they need the job or they like the job. They don't like the people. Honestly, they don't like the people that they work with. They don't like their boss, they don't like the leadership, they don't like where things are going. They don't like the person, and you will find that your leaders at a distance seem like one person, and when you get to know them, they're totally different than what you envision them to be, okay? They're not this, super mastermind, genius who's compassionate, empathetic, and sympathetic, and open to, everyone. It doesn't always work that way, okay? And so having good leaders and having good managers who set the example, who are open to diversity, open to listening, right? Because that's the most important skill set you're gonna have as a leader, listening. That's it, because you work for your team. They don't work for you, you work for them. Right? Remember that. Okay. So that's all I wanted to touch on tonight. Make sure you go on and look at chapter 5. I think it's yeah, chapter 5. It's chapters 4 and 5 for this week, but specifically look at chapter 5 or on job satisfaction, job engagement. Just because I didn't go super in depth in it. I wanted to put more on job analysis stuff. Make sure you get in there, review the chapters, make sure you get a good understanding about satisfaction engagement and what some of those things entail so that you can, be prepared for the quiz and just in general understand what it takes to really have a good team. Okay, these are all like a lot of team dynamics. About how do you manage a team, even for your case study when you guys are making your groups now. All right, it's important as to people will emerge as just natural leaders. Okay, and there's other people that just are fine who just kind of letting other people lead. There's nothing wrong with that. Right? Every leader needs followers. We all need a team. We all can't be leaders all at once. Okay, so it's okay if one person takes the lead for this one, and then you follow that person's lead until they lead you astray. And if they don't lead you astray, and you get an A, you're good. You get a D, might be time for a new leader. Okay. All right. Any questions? No? All right. Make sure you get your work in this week. Okay. And oh yeah, thank you for reminding me. So title justification for that's due this week. Okay. All I'm looking for is the title of your final paper, whatever research topic you're going to write about for the last final paper. That's what I'm looking for. Right. The title and why you chose it. So it doesn't have to be long. It could be literally 3 sentences. 1 paragraph is perfect. No more than 1 paragraph. Okay. The title. What makes it so interesting to you? Why did you pick that particular topic? Okay. That's it. It's only worth 20 points, so don't break the neck.
And when we have to give this one?
This is the end of the week. This week. This third week 3, yeah, and Sunday. Okay. That's it. All right. So don't get complicated. Don't stress it out. All right. Just name of your paper and why you chose that topic. All right. Good.
Good.
All right. And case study. Anything about the case study? 2 to 4 in the group. Get your group formed. Send me an email. Let me know who's in the group. Whoever's left over, we'll copy together in the group.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Copy that.
Copy that. All right. That's it. I'll see you guys next week.
Thank you, Professor. Have a good night.
I'll see you guys next week. Okay.
Thank you, Professor.
All right. See you guys next week.
See you.
Thank you, Doc.
No
problem.
problem. Good night. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Very well.
Okay.
Bye.